You have said that you saw David Miscavige physically attack two executives, Guillaume Lessev and Mark Yeager, in 2003. Can you tell us about that episode?
Sure. That one happened in the Cine, what they call the Cine conference room. Cine is short for cinematography. At that Ent base, they shoot a lot of films and videos, mainly which get used for Miscavige's own PR propaganda machine, because he has a huge propaganda machine that rolls out his propaganda, really, to Scientologists with 6 major events a year, which is, by the way, that whole thing is completely against what Ron Hubbard said to do. He said there should be no events. But that's integral to Miscavige's propaganda. So anyway, he has this huge number of videos and audio products and so forth that are made, mainly videos though. And in the Cine conference room, he does have a lot of conferences there because it's a big conference room. Okay, well, everybody was in there, meaning all the top executives. Mark Yeager, who's the commanding officer of the Commodore's Messenger Org International, that's the CMO Ent. And then there was Guillaume Lessev, he's the executive director of Scientology, basically, the church. So he's in charge of all the organizations and missions and so forth all over the world. He's called EDENT for short. And they were sitting at the table, and there was basically people all around this table that seats maybe, I don't know, 25 people, probably, maybe 30. And Miscavige was walking along behind them, and without any warning or anything, suddenly from behind, he grabbed Guillaume's and Mark Yeager's heads and smashed their heads together and ground their heads to the point where, his arms were shaking. Like if you do this and push as hard as you can, your hands will kind of shake. His hands were shaking, and these guys were squirming because he was grinding their heads together. And like I said, Miscavige is pretty strong physically. And so, it was pretty shocking to see that. Afterwards, Guillaume's ear was bleeding, and he had to go get medical attention from the medical officer to handle the bleeding ear.
You've said that you saw David Miscavige roughly handle the Scientology executive Ray Mithoff in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I believe it was 2002. It was up in Building 36, which is the big building when you first drive in to what we call the Ent base. That's short for International Base, or the International Headquarters of Scientology. There's a big building just to the left. That's called Building 36, and it's 3 floors, and on the top floor is marketing. And it's a big open floor full of, desks like here at the St. Pete Times, and except not like that at all. And over on one side, Ray Mithoff had come up there, and Miscavige was up there too that day, doing that evening to review something. And the next thing you know, Miscavige had grabbed Ray Mithoff and was jerking his jacket and trying to strip him of his jacket. And the sleeves were still buttoned, and so they wouldn't come off his hands. And so Miscavige was yanking wildly on his jacket, turned it inside out, and trying to get it off of his arms. Meanwhile, Miscavige was kicking him in the ass, and not softly, not like a joke, but hard. And so, even though Miscavige is short, he's strong because he's always had a personal trainer, whereas nobody else even got any exercise time. Ray Mithoff is a tall guy, tall and thin, but he was being yanked and jerked all over the place, and his hair was flying and so forth. So that was shocking just to see that, because this guy was at the time still a sort of revered figure. This guy, Ray Mithoff, he's supposed to be, the senior guy in terms of the technology of Scientology. So that was the first rough treatment I saw of an actual physical confrontation.
Was there a reason given by Mr. Miscavige?
No, we never saw any kind of reason. And, I will say this, that all the times I saw him get violent with somebody, there was never a reason given that made any sense other than maybe you never knew what it would cause it. And it might be the way the guy's didn't look up, or he smiled at the wrong time, or didn't, or you did smile or didn't smile, or he looked blank or didn't look blank. I mean, anything could set him off. You never knew what it was. Or maybe it was nothing to do with that. It was something somebody else did, and they said you did something, but you didn't know anything about it. Or it was something that you did, a week ago that he just found out that he didn't like. You just never knew when it was coming.